Morning. Everyone, welcome back. Returners, new guys alike. I'm glad to see everyone's faces, or just your eyes for now. I'm sure all of you have started to grow weary of the way the world has been functioning the last several months. I would like to say that things are going to quickly turn back to normal, but this is not true. I have to say that this game is far from over. In fact, we're just getting started. This year will involve some struggles, growing pains, no doubt. It already has. It will require some self-awareness, cooperation, and sacrifice. That sounds a little intimidating at first, but let me explain. Now, I truly believe that all of us, sitting here or standing, wanted this school year to happen in person. We could have easily thrown in the towel and decided to go virtual, but we didn't. All of us at some point during the hiatus, even if it was in the back of our minds, thought to ourselves, I miss the boys. I can't wait to see everyone again. When will we be back? I know I was. By the time summer was winding down, I was counting down the days until I could see my friends and teammates again. But the point is, we're not back home. We're not on summer vacation anymore. We're here at TP. So, let us be where our feet are, live in the moment, and make the most of what we got. Because that's all we can do. And that's what I want to talk about today, is seizing the moment, even in less than ideal conditions. And I think the best way to get my message across is by talking about two things. ESPN's Scott Van Pelt and a firefighter. So let's get started. For as long as I can remember, I've always been a fan of watching ESPN. From documentaries, to the games, to the sports analysis, I was instantly hooked. It was just sports and stats, nothing more, nothing less. And they had fascinated me at a young age. I was most interested in watching the midnight edition of SportsCenter, hosted by Scott Van Pelt. He anchored differently than the daytime hosts. He had a personality, he had light to what he was saying, and he had meaning. He doesn't just go through the motions of telling you the latest stats and scores of the games, but rather he takes a deep dive into making it as entertaining as possible. He cracks jokes, he adds his own inputs, he engages the audience to make it more than just numbers. Fast forward to 2018. I'm in the middle of my freshman year at Trinity-Pawling. On some weekends, we have guest speakers who come to share their experiences from their lives. And on one weekend, sure enough, I saw Scott Van Pelt on stage at the theater. He was being interviewed, and whenever it seemed like he was given a curveball question, Scott would know exactly what to say. Towards the end of the interview, Scott was asked what was one piece of advice to give the students at Trinity-Pawling. His response would stick with me to this day. He responded, "The best advice I would give to a young man is to be where your feet are." Now, as a 15-year-old kid, that didn't make much sense to me at the time. But he went on to explain the meaning behind that piece of advice. He believed that the greatest moment in your life is right now, and that you should try to make the most of any situation, good or bad, because you're here in the moment. He claimed if you worry about what already happened too much, you'll miss the opportunity that was right in front of you. Likewise, if you stress over what will happen in the future, you won't be able to focus on the present. After Scott's explanation about being where your feet are, it became as clear as day to me what it meant. It became a mindfulness exercise more than anything. Whenever I get worried about something I did in the past, I try to train myself to bring my thoughts back to what's going on right now. Or if I'm overthinking what might happen in the future, I try to bring myself back to the present. My life and my mind has never been the same after Scott visited Trinity-Pawling, and he gave me a new sense of mindfulness and awareness. I realized that every moment happens once, and if you miss it, there's no getting it back. That's why I try to make the most out of every moment I can, and train myself not to dwell in the past or worry about the future, but to focus on right now. Scott has been, in a sense, my muse, and his advice was the mantra that stuck in my head. I think his words have gone full circle these last 2 months, and that enjoying the present, even if it isn't perfect, is a great way to live. Another man who personified this lifestyle was a man named James. He was one of my dad's best friends growing up, and he went into any situation with the attitude that he would succeed. And his key would be confidence. Even if the odds were stacked against him, so what? At a party, There would be a pretty girl that no one would talk to because everyone would be too nervous to walk up to them and afraid of being rejected. But Jimmy threw this idea out the window. He would walk up with not a care in the world, and even if it went south, it didn't matter to him. He envisioned success, no matter the circumstances. Something even more important than his confidence was his ability to make the best out of poor situations. We thought Scott Van Pelt made them preach living in poor situations. James was the embodiment of being where your feet are. James was actually a fighter, a job where you have to make the best out of poor situations in order to succeed. James was also a first responder during the September 11th attacks 19 years ago today. Talk about a bad day to come to work. James and his group of firefighters were the first to run up those countless flights of stairs, saving people from the burning towers. James knew that he had to be focused on what was happening around him. He couldn't worry if he would make it out alive, because his task was to save others. Despite all the people he did save that day, James was unable to make it out before the towers collapsed on him. I never got to meet James. However, my middle name is named after him, so I think a part of him is with me every day. My father told me about his character and confidence, and how he's a great person to look up to. His legacy and the way he lived his life left a mark on me. It showed that living each moment to the fullest is worthwhile. We remember James today and all the innocent victims of the September 11th attacks and all the heroic responders who died that day to save others. Join me in another quick moment of silence for those we lost. So, what does all this really mean? How can I possibly connect a firefighter and a sports analyst into what we're going through right now? Just stay tuned. I think the advice I got from Scott really bleeds into today and blends in perfectly with the start of the school year. If we dwell on all the things that went wrong this year until now, how are we expected to focus on today? We can't control what already happened, but we can control how we react to what is right in front of us. In a similar sense, if we worry too far ahead in the future, we will miss the opportunities that are right in front of us. And that's exactly what the school year is about. It's an opportunity. It's a test of our resilience as a community. I mean, look at James. If his final hours wasn't a test of resiliency, I don't know what is. James' legacy is one we can all learn from, and that there's two options to pick when faced with a challenge. Either be frightened and intimidated by it, or look in the eyes and overcome it. And I think we are more than capable of overcoming this year and making the most of it. But I can't do it alone. None of us can. It's going to take all of us to get through this, but I couldn't ask for a better community to help lead the way to the future. So I challenge all of us to be where our feet are, to live in the present, and make this year the best one yet. Thank you.